Alright, hello guys. Today's custom model video will be on new models, some upgraded ones, and today we'll also be discussing who should be a train having returnee. Sorry, I'm not feeling too good at the moment. But anyway, let's get started, shall we? Easy. Okay, so what I'm going to bring forward first is Kate from the Stories of Sodor. So I upgraded Kate one last time. So what I did, I added these yellow things on the sides of her wheels. That's what Timothy 2009 did to Lady. So I think I'll do that when I get my permanent Lady model. I also had a clear nail polish on the wheels to make sure they don't chip or wear off or anything. I extended the handrail on the side of her and made it go down to where it's supposed to be, like at. Then I put the lady name right there already. I know I did that. Then I added some handrails right there on both sides. And I added a cylinder because her cylinder wasn't there at the time. So yeah, that's all there is on Kate. And I think I added a whistle. I also added this thing. That's what Lady has on herself. So I added that to Kate as well. Yeah, that's Kate. Now let's take a look at Eric. So I decided to take off the Sodor Fantastic Crew letters off him because that didn't suit him that well. And I will put it on a different engine, a different OC character, mine of course. But I decided to keep Eric this way, so I just basically scraped it off with a screwdriver and then repainted that part of him to make it look better. But I kept number 2 on his bunker, because that's like a better place to put it. So yeah, the number 2 is on his bunker, and remember, that's a reference to the fact where he was built. He was the number 2 of where he was built. Just so you know. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little stuffed up, guys, but I'll be fine. Now, this engine is a Furnace Kingdom engine. This is an OC of Popular Paxton. And you guessed him well. Yep, it's Marcus. He's made from a Thomas Wood Rosie with the face repainted. He has a grumpy face. Put the white running board. Added the 3 black stripes. Sorry. Then, I used outdoor black paint for his wheels and at the bottom of his chassis. But for the inside of his chassis, I actually painted regular black. And of course, his lining and his FR letters and the block along there where the side rods are, that's regular black paint. I added the back lining and tail lamp and all the squares and rectangles on the sides. And I added the cab windows and whistle and the buffer beams, of course. So yep, there's Marcus, and I put a clay dome on him since this is a Thomas Wood Rosie. So now let's take a look at a special one made by a friend of mine. He asked me if I can make this character. So this engine is made by another friend of mine on YouTube. I don't know how to say his name completely just yet. But yeah, I prefer to call him Jeremy the E2, even though that's not his real name. But this is one of my friends on YouTube's customs. This is Jeremy the Orange E2. So yeah, he's one of Thomas's brothers or friends, and he has a Thomas face with a scar added onto it, because that's what his OC had. He's painted orange with red lining, and yeah, and his number is 19. So I don't know how to say my friend's name yet completely, but I'll just call him Jeremy the E2 for now. So anyways, that's Jeremy, the E2. I hope I feel better soon, guys. Now this is a reskinned engine, and who is a Transformer engine. His name is Dragstrip. Bradley Thomas Burden said I can make the characters that were reskinned Transformer engines. So Dragstrip is a Transformer engine. He's the left arm of Victorion's most hated enemy, Minosaur. So Dragstrip was made from a Bill or Ben model I had that I wasn't using, because I'm going to get the Bill and Ben with red wheels. Or maybe make customs out of them, I don't know. But yeah. So drag strip is bright yellow. And he has metallic red stripes. And his nameplate is on the side. And he has a James face. But I made it look more evil. Kind of like how Randall's face is evil. Yeah, he's got red metallics everywhere. Like everywhere we see red and stuff. I added the side rods on there. Yeah, there's that. And yeah, I modified the James face a bit. He had a different face, but then I changed it. If you remember seeing him on community posts. Yeah, I added some back lining on the bunker. And then I added the tail lamp. And a whistle and the coal right there. So yeah, he's a reskin made by the user Bradley Thomas Burden. So I thank him for allowing me to make the characters that are Transformer engines that were reskinned. So I don't know who I'm going to aim for next. Okay, so here's an engine from the Railway series. So this is Pug. The, I don't know, it's just Pug. I taped his British Railways logo on there. He has a repainted Ben face that's been slightly modified. Then he's black everywhere. I added the buffers. I didn't add any backlighting or a tail lamp. I don't know if I will. But yeah. His chassis came from a circus train chassis. Oh, and Drag Strip's chassis came from a Mattel birthday cake car. That came with a birthday Thomas. That's where it was from. Not the Thomas Wood one. It was like a 2012 one. Anyways, there's Pug from the Railway series. I'm gonna make Genty as well, if you want to know. Now let's bring in a character who's familiar, who's returned. Yep, you all know him. It's Thomas. So I finally got a Thomas model that I wanted. That was in good condition. It wasn't in the best condition. There were just a few spots that had chipped wood everywhere. Hold on. Yeah, I'm really feeling sick, guys, but I'll be fine. But yeah, anyways, so Thomas has, like, extra details added to him that I gave him. So yeah, like I said, I repainted, all the bare wood spots with, the spots that were, like, chipped everywhere. I used neon blue paint, but it still looks good overall. So yeah, I got a permanent Thomas model. I hope this will be my permanent Thomas model. But anyways, I upgraded it a bit after I got it. But this was not the original face that came with it. This is actually a swapped face for another E2 engine, but you'll find out who that is. So yeah, this is my permanent Thomas. I added a white running board, a buffer beam, but with actual buffers on the front and back. I gave him backlining and a tail lamp, of course. And I gave him the whistle and cab windows. And yeah, this is basically a swapped face. You'll find out in a minute, or a few seconds. Yeah, there's my permanent Thomas model, guys. I'm glad I have Thomas back on the team. Now let's bring in one of his relatives. Yep, you all know it. It's Roger. So Roger's back too. See, he's returned as well. Yeah, I bought this Thomas. This was actually a paint splattered Thomas that I had. This Thomas was actually a regular Thomas that came with cargo car, but you'll find out what that's been made into. Yeah, anyways, so yeah, this face came on this model. So this was a face taken from Timothy's old model, which was 10. So yeah, this was taken from 10's old model. And yeah. And then this face was taken from here and used on Roger. So yeah, that's basically the face swap. And since I got a paint splatter Thomas, yep, I do have the face nearby. It's right here. So yeah, I modified the mouth a bit to make it look like he has an open black hole in there. I also got the fish cover Thomas. And by the way, I got a busy bee Thomas, and that was Jeremy's model. So yeah, Jeremy's model came from a bee Thomas. Yeah, here's the face. I'm thinking of adding it to a different engine. I don't know who. But yeah, these are going to be Thomas's expressions here. But yeah, there we are on that. So Thomas will have more expressions right here. I will get the annoyed Thomas face from him being in the winter or something. But anyways, let's move on to Roger. So Roger's dark blue. He was actually royal blue when I first made him. But yeah, I changed the model to my original character named Layla. But yeah, I have Roger's new model. So this is the paint splatter Thomas. Repainted. Everything's been repainted except for the chassis. Well, the underneath of the chassis has been repainted, yes. Then I painted it dark blue, and then I added all the red details everywhere. His bunker lining, the red trim, the red lines, his tail lamp. And I repainted the eyes, of course, to make it look like he's looking straight ahead instead of up. Because this Thomas face made him look up from the old model over there. Then I've added LPSC and 77 on both sides. I added the whistle and everything. And yeah, I'm glad I have a new model of Roger. So yeah, Roger is officially back on the team. So there's Roger. Now, here's another engine who's returned. Yep, it's Timothy, the number 0. So yeah, Timothy's back now. This is his new model. It was made from the birthday Thomas I had. I took the hat off. My dad took the face off, and then we didn't damage the hats, which was good. Then I put a little clay right there to make it look like a fully rounded thing, because there was like a little cut there to resemble the hat being put on his head. The hat's right there if you want to know, and the face was repainted right here into a different face. Yeah, so I painted it gray, I added red lining, and I also added a white running board, because that was something that was not done to Timothy. I added the number 0 and everything, the red lines, the blue stripes. I added his demon face, but I'm going to get a regular face. That will be his non-demon face. But yeah, I'm glad I have Thomas, Timothy, and Roger back on the team. Now here's 2 of Timothy's henchmen. Let's start off with the first one. So this is -1. He's made from the same model as -2. I couldn't find a flat magnet Thomas, but I didn't really care, so I just bought a model that looks just like -2 with the ledge on the back. And I did the same details on this model, and I did the eyes different. The eyebrows, not the eyes. So yeah, this is -1, a character made by Popular Paxton, of course. And then, here's -3. Yeah, -3. So yeah, I'm gonna make -4 too, but for now I just have -1, -2, and -3. So yeah, I almost have all of Timothy's henchmen. And if you're wondering, will I make Timothy 2009's characters, Marissa and Railwatch? Yes, I will make them. Just don't know when. I need to get 2 Thomas models in order to make them. And an Adventures Thomas for the face. But yeah, there's -3. Another character member, Popular Paxton. And yeah. Now these last 2, one of them is familiar. So yeah, it's Lucy. Lucy's officially back. She was just gone for a few weeks or days by the time you're seeing this. But yeah, I got a new chassis for Lucy. It's an Emily's tender chassis. So yeah, I got a new tender for chassis for Lucy. And now Lucy's back. So yeah, there's Lucy. She's now back on the team as well. And this last custom is Buddy, a character made by the user Ike Smith. This was made from Danny's old model, because I'm going to make Danny and Danielle at the same time. And the chassis was actually switched. I did like a swap for the chassis, and this is actually outdoor black paint on the black cargo car, because this was actually a red one. The black cargo car is going to be made into either Danny or Danielle. It's up there where Bossy and the others are. So yeah, I gave it the face of Rotten because Rotten's face looks better, and I didn't didn't actually know what kind of nose Buddy has. Ike Smith didn't draw a face that has a nose because I didn't see the nose. So I gave it the face of Rotten, which looks a little good. So yeah, that's what I did. So yeah, it's basically a swapped chassis. And anyways, that's all there is on the customs. Now let's get on to the Train Heaven returnees. Oh, before that, over here is some new in the process models. So this tender is a black 5 tender. I bought a Thomas Wood Henry off of Amazon to make into a character used by the user Steven Universe. So this is his OC's tender. His OC's name is Kim. But it's actually Kimmy. Kim is for short. But yeah, this is a black 5 tender. I gave it white lines because he didn't tell me if it had white 8 lines or any type of lining. So I gave it my own lining. Yeah, and she has the number 67. And I gave her back lining too. Kim's model is right here. Like, I'm still making it at the moment. But I'll be done with it eventually. Yeah, there's Kim's model. Then these two here, this is Jake from a game similar to the Cool Beans Railway. So I need my dad to file this down. We're going to get a Dremel tool and then file it down in order to make it look more flat and then it is looking ledged out. But yeah, I made Jake from the Cool Beans Railway. And I'll get his face put on eventually. But yeah, there's Jake. He's basically a Thomas model with white lines, the number 100, and his name on the sides of both of him. And he has white lines. And his dome is made out of clay, obviously. And it's actually neon blue paint I put on the dome. I gave him backlining too. And I put buffer beams. And I painted this part black because it's painted black. Tammy T 2009 made Jake before me, and he said Jake is going to be a Train Heaven returnee, but you'll find out what's going to happen to my Train Heaven returnees. Now this last engine is another familiar engine who's returning. It's 089's new model. So yeah, this was made from the fish cover Thomas, which I took the face off, and I'll put a new face on for 089 once I get a Thomas face for it. Like, once I get the Thomas face, I'll put it on there, and then boom, 089 will be back in the team. So yeah, sorry if you hear all those noises, it's my brother. Yeah, so, there we are on that. 089 is coming back too. Alright guys, now we'll discuss the Train Heaven returnees in my videos. Brace yourself, guys. Alright guys, so now we're going to discuss who's going to be a Train Heaven returnee. Let's start with Roger. So Roger would have been an engine who was created before he could have met Thomas and Timothy, but he was scrapped along with Marissa, Railwatch, and possibly another E2. I don't know who's gonna be scrapped along with him. But yeah, when Roger comes out of Train Heaven, he'll meet Emma, because I'm gonna make Emma the Lavender LBSC engine, because she and Roger have something in common. They both are painted different colors from the LBSC engines, and they both have LBSC and their numbers on their bunkers. So yeah, that's something that's going to happen, because Tammy T 2009 has the idea of Roger and Emma being boyfriend and girlfriend. So yeah, I think that's a good idea, so I'm sure he's fine with me doing that too, because he is my friend after all. But yeah, so yeah, Roger's a Train Heaven returnee along with Marissa, Railwatch, and possibly another engine, who I don't know will be. Now, let's move on to my original character named Lenny. So Lenny's going to be a Train Heaven returnee, but she would have been in the London Railway, where Percy's going to meet his new gang, but then he'll end up dying with Lenny and 2 other engines. So yeah, Lenny would have been on the bad side in the Release for Crew movie, but she'll reform. Yeah, she's going to reform. But yeah, throughout the times you've seen her, since I've had her for about a year, you've seen Lenny mostly good throughout the time. She hasn't caused any trouble. But in the Release for Crew movie, yes, until she reforms. Now let's move on to 13 here. So 13 is another Train Heaven returnee. So yeah, she's gonna be an engine from I don't know where, but she'll tell her backstory. Her backstory is going to be about her racing near the edge of a cliff with another engine who I do not know yet who she will meet or something. Or maybe she'll be paired up with my two original characters named 9 and 10. Maybe she'll be with them. Yeah, anyways, there we go on that. So yeah, 9 and 10 are both Train Heaven returnees with 13. So I think they'll both know 13, and then all three of them would have ended up dying at the same time. So yeah, there's that plan. I think that may go through. Now, Fan the E2 tank engine will also be a Train Heaven returnee. Also, Fan has created two more characters that he said I could make. So I can't wait to make those characters. Those characters will be Train Heaven returnees too, or they'll probably be in the living world. I don't know. But yeah, Fan is one of the Train Heaven returnees, if you remember. So yeah, there's Fan. So yeah, he'll be a Train Heaven returnee too. Now, Eagle 1 and Eagle 2 will be Train Heaven returnees because Eagle 1 would have ended up dying from a fuel tanker explosion. So yeah, Eagle 1 and Eagle 2. Also, I put clear nail polish on Eagle's wheels. Same for Eagle 2 and Fan, as well as the newest engines I made. So yeah, they have clear nail polish added to their wheels. So yeah, like I said, Eagle 1 and Eagle 2 would have died. Eagle 1 is going to die from a fuel tanker. Eagle 2 would have died because he was disabled. Not disabled, I don't want to say that. His death would have been caused by Alfred, the B-12, because Alfred's going to be in the London Railway too. Then he's going to be one of the evil engines who would have disabled Eagle 2. Then Eagle 3 and Eagle 4, as well as Eagle 5, will be in the living world. Alright, then Jeremy here, he's another Train Heaven returnee, because me and Jeremy had a little discussion on community post about where I should introduce Jeremy. And I told him I wanted to introduce Jeremy in Train Heaven. So he gave me a backstory for Jeremy on how he ended up dying and stuff. Then, yeah, so Jeremy here is a Train Heaven returnee as well. Alright, now let's move on to a private character. So you may know this private character, obviously. Yes, it's Furby. So yeah, remember, Furby only trusts me, guys. Me, no one else. And also, I saw this video Furby made a few weeks or months ago that he and his Discord friends had a chat with each other and he said that whoever makes their characters without their permission, they're gonna have to take desperate measures. I don't know what that means just yet, but I'll find out eventually. But yeah, Furby said only I can do this. And he said in his video, that his characters and his other friends' characters are private. But I asked for permission from Furby, and he told me yes. And in case you don't believe me, here's the evidence to prove it, in case some of you haven't watched the other video. So yeah, there's that evidence, guys. And also, just make sure you don't do their characters without permission, otherwise bad things will happen. But I'm glad I have permission from Furby, so I thank him again. So, Furby, if you're watching this, thanks again for letting me use your character. So yeah, Furby is going to be a character who's going to be brainwashed, along with a few other engines. But I don't know who's going to be brainwashed with him just yet. And Furby will later on get his memory back, as in, like, he'll be unbrainwashed. He'll turn back to the good side, because he would have been brainwashed on the bad side. So yeah, he'll turn good after he's been unbrainwashed. Then he'll leave Train Heaven with Percy. And all that. Now, let's move on to the unnamed white tank engine. So, I'm gonna say this. Albert's full gang, as in, like, Albert from the Railway series. Like, the red version of Albert. The standard gauge one, yes. Albert and his Furnace Kingdom friends, the ones who were in his gang, they would have ended up dying. They would be in Train Heaven. Albert's still the leader, but he and his gang, along with the coaches, would have ended up dying as well. And then they'll get out of Train Heaven after all the heroes leave. Yeah, so the same thing goes for Marcus here. So yeah, that's gonna happen with Marcus as well, since he's a part of Albert's gang. Now, there are going to be a few evil Stunnicons with Dragstrip here coming out of Train Heaven. He, Mortarmaster, I don't know who else. But yeah, there's going to be more Stunnicons coming out of Train Heaven with the Train Heaven returnee villains. And I think some of the good Autobots would have ended up dying and then they would get out of Train Heaven. Oh, and a quick thing, there are also going to be some narrow gauge engines who get out of Train Heaven. One of them is going to be Bertram, because Bertram would have ended up dying by falling off a cliff with some troublesome trucks. They would have, like, fallen into a cliff or something. I don't exactly know. But yeah, they would have ended up dying falling from a cliff. And also, there's going to be a few more narrow gauge engines, such as, like, Crimson in one of the mid-soda engines, Sid, the mid-soda engine, and possibly Alfred. Atlas would have survived, but he never saw Alfred until he got out of Train Heaven. But yeah, Atlas is in the living world. Alfred, the mid-soda engine, will be in the Train Heaven. But yeah, also, yeah, and Tim is another mid-soda engine. So yeah, Tim would have ended up dying too. So, the same thing goes for Proteus. So yeah, Proteus was an engine there. And yeah, he would have died too. I mean, Proteus is obviously dead in a few people's series. A lot. But yeah, there's going to be a few narrow gauge engines coming back from Train Heaven. Alright, now on to -1. So, in my episode called Welcome to Train Heaven, when Timothy dies in the second Really Useful Crew movie. So yeah, after he dies, he's going to be killed by Blue Cheese, because I'm going to make Ike Smith's characters Blue Cheese, Mother Dreadly, and Father Destruction. So yeah, those guys would have ended up... No. Father Destruction and Mother Dreadly would have already been in Train Heaven by then. Then after Blue Cheese kills, Timothy here, she would have ended up killed by Percy. So yeah, I finally found an engine who's going to play in Freedom's place in the Really Useful Crew movie. So yeah, Blue Cheese is actually going to be the engine who Percy develops a crush on, because they're not related. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, they're not related in any sort of way. Those two would have, well, they're going to be enemies, because Blue Cheese is going to fake being a good engine, but then she'll reveal herself to be evil. Some of you know the second Truck movie on what happened with Freedom and Scaredy and some of her henchmen. So yeah, Blue Cheese would have ended up killing Timothy. Then Timothy falls into Train Heaven. Then after that, he's going to meet the negatives, all 4 of them. Then they would have ended up becoming his new henchmen in Train Heaven. And I think you guys, some of you may know the rest. Yeah, same for -2 here. So yeah, Timothy doesn't actually know the negatives in my series. I mean, the Really Useful Crew movies. Yeah, he doesn't know the negatives until he meets them up in Train Heaven. So yeah, there we go on that. Same thing for Charleston. He will meet Timothy eventually in Train Heaven. Not in Welcome to Train Heaven, but an episode in Train Heaven. There are going to be a few episodes in Train Heaven with Percy, all these villains, and the good engines. Same thing for Jinky. So, he would have ended up being a ghost, but then he will reform in Train Heaven. In other words, he may have been brainwashed into thinking he was evil and may have become a ghost, but then he will get unbrainwashed, and then he'll get a tender. The engines will find a tender nearby in Train Heaven that's perfect for Jinky. They hook it up to him, and then boom, he's going to be unbrainwashed. Or Jinky would have arrived in Train Heaven with his tender, but then when he was brainwashed, he didn't need his tender anymore to make him seem more like a ghost engine. And then after Jinky gets unbrainwashed and gets out of Train Heaven, he'll probably want to go to the works or something to be repainted or get some more details added to him, since he'll be turning good. So yeah, there's that little shocker. And in case you remember, 089 here is part of Thomas's group in the Really Useful Crew movie. So yeah, he's still in the living world. Thomas will tell his backstory on how he died after he died. Like, he'll tell his backstory on what happened after he got to Train Heaven. Now, Jake here is going to be a Train Heaven returnee too, because Timothy 2009 had that idea, and I thought that was a pretty good idea. He also had the same idea from my OC characters named Abby, Chuckler's sister. Yeah, he had that plot. I think when I make Kimmy, May, and Fiona, that's gonna happen. But Kate will be in the living world. She's an international engine. So yeah, Kate will be an international engine, just so you know. And yeah, Jake is a Train Heaven returnee as well. Yeah, so Kimmy, Fiona, and not Kate, and May would have died. They would have died and got to Train Heaven. Then Percy gets them out, and then they reunite with Lady and Kate, because Kate will meet Lady eventually, since Lady and Kate are both in the living world at this very moment in the Release for Crew movie. Now, I requested from the user Connor, or I don't remember his name, but yeah, I requested from the user whose name was Connor. He's a NEET too. So yeah, I requested from Connor if I can make him a J94 named Lindsay and, well, his girlfriend Marion. So yeah, I requested from him to if I can make those. Marion's going to be a Train Heaven returnee, and in case those who are watching who are with Furby and his other friends, like Fuzz and Nick, I'll show you some evidence to prove that he said I could. So yeah, I basically had a chat in the comments with Connor, and he said if it was okay if I could make the both, and he said if I wanted to, and I agreed. So yeah, I wanted to make them, and he said I could. Yeah, here's the evidence. He said that I could. So yeah, there's that evidence to prove it. So yeah, that's basically what's going to happen. Marion's a Train Heaven returnee. Connor would have met Percy in London with a lot of other engines, like those engines over there, that start from Jesse, that go all the way to Diesel 11 back there. So yeah, that's what's going to happen, guys. Oh, and also, I know who's going to play in Taylor and Boxer's place. It'll be 16 and Bartholomew. And yeah, that's what's going to happen. So yeah, thanks for watching this long video, guys. Koba, please please do not take off my comments, because I want to hear what my friends on YouTube have to say about this. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.